You know, when I was looking through your research notes, there was one thing that really caught my eye. It was this whole idea of becoming famous, like really famous, but by complete accident.
Oh, yeah, I think we've all seen that, like, just boom, instant celebrity status.
Hmm.
But the fame comes from something totally random.
Exactly. Something you'd never planned for, and
Yeah.
something that other people might even think is, well, kind of weird. So, how does that even happen?
Yeah, I think it's that total unpredictability that gets me. Like, how does something go viral? It's like the internet has a mind of its own.
For sure. It's completely wild what catches on. Some of the things that go viral, I mean, they really make you wonder.
You think, like, is this real life?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
let's break down some of these real world examples, these viral sensations. I mean, who could have predicted that a stock photo model with a slightly uncomfortable smile would become like a global meme?
Oh, hide the pain, Harold.
Yeah.
Classic example. But there are so many more.
Oh, I know.
Like, you remember those dancing funeral pallbearers from Ghana?
Oh, absolutely.
It's cultural tradition there, but it just blew up online when somebody sat there dancing to, you know, some dramatic music.
It's incredible how a simple edit can completely change the context and then boom, global phenomenon. And of course, we can't forget Chewbacca Mom. It was just pure, infectious joy captured on video, and it resonated with what? Millions of people?
Millions, yeah.
I mean, a woman just laughing hysterically while wearing a Chewbacca mask, it turned her into like an overnight celebrity, talk show appearances, free toys, all because of a genuine moment of happiness.
I think people really connected with that,
Right.
finding joy in something unexpected.
But I imagine there's got to be a potential downside to all of this too, right? This sudden, overwhelming fame.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we often focus on the positive side of going viral, but there's a whole other side of the story.
Like what?
Well, that sudden shift from being totally anonymous to being in the spotlight, I mean, that can be a huge shock. There's a real psychological impact to that. It's like you're suddenly pushed onto a stage that you never even auditioned for, and not everyone can handle that kind of attention.
Right, that makes sense. So let's say you're just an average person, living your life. We'll call him, I don't know, Liam. Liam loves Oreos. Maybe a little too much, who knows?
Okay, I like him already.
So Liam, just for fun, decides to film himself stacking Oreos, like building a little tower. He posts the video online, and for whatever reason, it goes viral. Suddenly, he's the Oreo whisperer. What happens next?
Well, first things first, his phone is probably blowing up. Non-stop notifications,
Yeah.
calls. People are tagging him in memes left and right. News outlets want to interview him. Brands are probably knocking down his door to get him to, endorse their products. It'd be crazy.
Total chaos.
Yeah, and, he never asked for this. It's not like he set out to become famous for stacking Oreos.
I can only imagine fans showing up at his house with mountains of Oreos wanting autographs, but it can't all be fun and games, can it? There
Yeah.
has to be a point where it's just too much.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where things can take a bit of a dark turn.
How so?
Well, Liam's story, even though it's made up, really highlights something we see all the time. These parasocial relationships that form between, these accidental influencers and their fans. Suddenly, there are thousands, maybe even millions of people out there who feel like they know Liam personally.
Just because they've seen him stacking Oreos in a video.
Right. And they're commenting on everything he posts, sending messages, maybe even, trying to figure out where he lives. It gets intense.
Yeah.
And the research actually shows that these kinds of one-sided relationships, where there's all this attention, but no real connection, you can really take a toll on the person at the center of it all.
That's fascinating. It's like this weird double-edged sword, right? You have this incredible connection with people all over the world, but then you also lose your privacy and control over your own image.
Exactly. And we can't forget about those who see Liam's fame and think, oh, I can make some money off of this.
Yeah.
Someone who steps in and wants to be his manager.
Oh, so now we're getting into the really interesting stuff. Okay, so we've got Liam, our accidental Oreo stacking internet star,
Yeah.
and he's dealing with all this pressure from fans and now maybe even a manager who's breathing down his neck. I'm guessing it can get kind of stressful, right? All this pressure to keep performing for the internet.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just imagine the stress of having to come up with new content all the time,
Yeah.
engaging content and keeping up this online persona that people expect. It can be exhausting. Like, let's say Liam wants to try something different, branch out of it. Instead of Oreos, he wants to stack Doritos.
Doritos. Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess the same concept, but that's pretty different from his, signature Oreo stack. So what happens?
Well, let's say his manager, who's all about the money, steps in and says, nope, you're the Oreo guy. stick to the Oreos. And suddenly Liam's stuck in this battle between, wanting to be creative and explore new things and feeling like he has to maintain this brand identity that he never even asked for.
Oh, I bet. And what about his fans? I mean, they're the ones who made him famous. Do they just accept this change, or are they going to be upset that he's, ditching the Oreos?
Oh, the internet can be brutal. He'd probably face some serious backlash. Like, people feel like they have ownership over these internet personalities.
Right. It's like they feel like they know them personally.
Exactly. So you might see comments like, unfollowed, where are the Oreos? It's like they feel betrayed or something.
It's like they're invested in the Oreo persona. I mean, wasn't there that kid, Damn Daniel, who went viral just for wearing white Vans?
Yeah.
I remember he said later that all the attention was just too much. He never wanted any of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great example of how fame, even when it seems positive, can be really overwhelming and unwanted. And the thing is, these aren't just hypothetical situations. I mean, we asked you, our listeners, to share their own stories about accidental internet fame. And let me tell you, the responses were incredible. Like, we had no idea how common this was.
Oh, yeah. The stories were amazing.
Yeah.
What stood out to me was how different they all were. It really shows how, anyone doing anything can suddenly become an internet sensation. It's so random.
Absolutely. I mean, we had one guy, Jake, who sent in a story about how he posted this time-lapse video of his plant growing.
Okay. Pretty simple. Right.
Right. But for some reason, it blew up. And now he's known as, the plant guy. He gets all these questions from people all over the internet about, gardening and plant care. And the funny thing is, he told us that he's actually not that good at keeping plants alive.
So he's accidentally become an expert.
Exactly. And it just shows how random this whole internet fame thing can be. You never know what's going to capture people's attention. It also shows how the internet connects people with shared interests, even if it's based on, a bit of a misunderstanding.
Right. And we can't forget Priya and her dog.
Oh, right. The taco dog.
Yeah, her dog dressed as a taco. That video went viral, and now she's getting offers from pet food companies who want her dog to be, the face of their brand. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's hilarious. Her dog, unintentionally, is more famous than she is. All thanks to a silly costume and a well-timed video. But what I love about both Jake and Priya's stories is that they show how this accidental fame thing, it's not just for, a select few. It can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time.
It's like a lottery you never even entered.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for the average person who's just, scrolling through their feeds? What can we learn from all these tales of unexpected internet fame?
I think the big takeaway is that in this digital world, our lives, even the most private parts of them, they're kind of intertwined with what happens online. Even something that seems totally ordinary can become public and be subject to, the whims of internet culture.
That's kind of exciting, but also a little scary, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing how we can connect with people all over the world, build communities, but then there's also that potential for scrutiny and things spiraling out of control.
Absolutely. And I think it underscores how important it is to be really thoughtful about what we share online. And, on the flip side, as consumers of all this online content, we need to remember that what we're seeing is often a very curated version of reality. People are putting their best, or sometimes their weirdest, foot forward.
So in a nutshell, how do we navigate this crazy, ever-changing digital world? What are the key things to keep in mind? It really comes down to approaching the online world, all of it, with a healthy dose of skepticism. And just being aware of yourself and what you put out there.
Yeah.
Because this accidental internet fame, it's often presented as like a dream come true.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to be famous.
Right. But it's not always what it's cracked up to be. It can have negative consequences.
Absolutely. There's a human side to all of this that we can't forget about.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, our deep dive into this whole world of accidental internet fame, I gotta ask you, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen go viral?
Ooh, that's a good one. There have been so many strange things I've seen over the years. It's hard to pick just one. But one that really comes to mind is that video, I think you've probably seen it, of the guy who ate an entire jar of mayonnaise in one sitting.
Wait, what? The whole jar? Why? I mean, was it a dare?
No idea. But millions of people watched it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it led to all those parodies and reaction videos. You know how it goes. It's a perfect example of how the internet can take the most random, even kind of gross things and just make them famous.
It's true. I mean, why mayonnaise? It makes you wonder if there's a secret formula for going viral. If we could just crack the code, we could all be internet famous.
I think part of what makes it so interesting is that there is no code. It's completely unpredictable. You can't plan to go viral. It just kind of happens.
So are you saying we should all just start filming ourselves doing weird stuff and hope for the best?
No, not exactly.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a good reminder that even in this world of algorithms and, people trying to create these perfect online personas, sometimes the things that really break through, the things that really capture people's attention are the unexpected things. The things that are unplanned, unscripted, maybe even a little bizarre.
So you never know, right? Maybe that random photo of your lunch or that funny story you posted about your cat, maybe that's the thing that's going to make you the next big internet star.
Exactly. You just never know. So my advice, embrace the absurdity of it all. Stay curious, keep exploring, and remember that in this wild world of the internet, anything is possible.
That's a great reminder. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into this crazy world of accidental internet fame. Thanks for joining us, and who knows, maybe we'll see you on the front page of the internet someday.
Huh, maybe.